Hey guys, so here's my handy dandy tofu box, and in it are some rocks that we're gonna cut together today. These are Sumatran agates. I have two larger pieces here and some smaller pieces. I think these are promising potentially. Let's wet them. Especially these two larger pieces, they seem fairly interesting. So this one right here, from what we can see, it seems to have a lot of banding. There's some chords but also lots of banding. So I'm thinking of cutting it, actually, if I cut it this way, maybe that's okay. I'm not sure. Or should I cut it this way? I'm actually thinking of cutting it this way. Just because it seems like the direction of the way the quartz is going, there's some quartz poking out here and here and here. So it seems like maybe the quartz runs through like that. So I'm worried that if I cut it lengthwise like that, I might get a really big exposure of quartz compared to this way. So anyway, yeah, I'm gonna cut it this way. And this other big piece here, it also shows banding. Seems quite promising. So at the end here, see some banding, and also this side is banding as well. I'm gonna cut it this way. Okay. And these smaller ones should be quite easy to cut. Some of them show obvious banding on the surface, as does this one, and also even this one. So these three appear to be more on the clear side, a little bit translucent, especially this guy here. Although it seems like this half of it is kind of darker in color, and this half is lighter in color. So I think I might try to cut through the dark colored area lengthwise like that. This guy is also like a darker, like a clearer nodule. So anyway, lots of interesting nodules, agates to cut. We're going to start with the small ones. Okay, let's take a look at these agates here. So first of all, this one here didn't really turn out to be an agate. It seems to show vaguely some banding, but yeah, it's actually kind of like just clayey. It's not agatized at all, and there's like dirt in the middle. So yeah, from the outside, it looks like an agate, but it is a little bit lighter maybe. But yeah, it's unfortunately it's not an agate. Maybe there's an argument to be made that maybe that's kind of like the whites, kind of like jasper. But yeah, but when cutting it, it wasn't very hard either, unfortunately. Okay, so let's have a look at this one here. Let's get some water on it. So this one has some banding, as you can see here. It's a light brown in color, quartz center. Not the most attractive one. From the outside, it looked promising, like a nice nodule, and I wanted to cut down through the darker area, but that didn't really seem to make much of a difference. All right, let's look at this one. This one is actually pretty interesting. The bands are not very obvious, I would say. Yeah, probably this is a good way to look at it. The bands are not very obvious to the eye, but they are there, as you can see. What I find intriguing about this agate is the fact that the fortifications are angular in nature. You can probably see it going there and there and there, right? But the outline of the agate is not really that angular. I think it's more of a roundish shape, right? So why would the agate growing inside decide to go angular? Like, where did it get the information or the constraint that it should grow in an angular way? It's not really respecting the boundaries at all. So that seems weird to me. So yeah, maybe if you know what's going on, maybe you can leave a comment. But that seems very unusual to me. Okay, let's look at this one. This guy is quite decent aesthetically. It's we see water lines, right? And then we see some druzy on the bottom. So that's pretty cool. So it seems like it started off with an outer shell of agate, then it started forming druzy, and then agate started forming above that in water lines. So that seems to be how it grew. Potentially, maybe it grew the other way, this way. Maybe the druzy happened at the very end. Maybe that seems like a more plausible history. Yeah, possibly. Let's go this one. Okay. So this is a pretty nice looking triangular with water lines and then fortification at the top. It's pretty cool. The water lines have a hint of like orange here, if you can see that. Get this one here. So this was pretty cool. Has a color, nice tight banding all throughout. It's on the darker side, so a little bit hard to tell. But yeah, it has banding all throughout. Let's zoom in a little bit. You can see the bands. You can see starting from the middle, it's like red, orange, and then blue. And then maybe orange, yellow, and blue again, orange. So quite fascinating. A lot of different colors going on in there in all the bands. So definitely very impressed by this agate. Yeah, I really like that one. This next one is also pretty interesting. Another kind of darker one, but what makes this really cool is the fact that you can see all these dots like stars in the sky almost, right? You see all the yellow dots. So it's like the fortifications formed, and then there are these yellow, maybe tiny spherical impurities that formed on the surfaces of the fortifications before the next layer came in. So that seems to have happened for at least 2 layers, that outer layer and then this layer here. Let's zoom in a little bit so we can see better. Yeah, see that? All those thousands of yellow dots. Are we focused? Yeah. So I think that's really interesting. I don't know what it's made of. So if you know, maybe you can tell me in the comments. So that's a very cool agate. This one, last one here, I really like because it has bright colors. Yeah, this guy here. So yeah, this is definitely a very pretty agate to look at. Look at the colors. So unfortunately, there's some holes there, but yeah, the colors are bright, and the bands are distinct. There's reds and yellows, as you can see. Nice fortification all throughout, very distinct banding. Yeah, definitely one of my favorites for this batch. So yeah, I don't know which one would my favorite be really. They're all very good. I mean, the last 3 are all very good. So I think it's probably a toss-up actually between these 3. They're all very interesting, great agates. All right, so that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time.